When it comes to high-profile families, few have commanded the level of attention that the Trump family has. At the center of numerous political, business, and media storms, each family member has found themselves thrust into the limelight, with their lives dissected, analyzed, and debated. However, amidst the media frenzy surrounding the Trumps, there is one figure who has managed to maintain a strikingly low profile: Barron Trump. The youngest son of former President Donald Trump has often been seen, but rarely heard. His public appearances are limited, and compared to the lives of his siblings, Barron's journey has been shrouded in a veil of mystery and speculation. The storage of wealth and privilege. At first glance, Barron Trump's life may seem like a traditional story of wealth and privilege. Born into a family of immense influence, he has lived in some of the most iconic locations in America, from the penthouse of Trump Tower to the White House. However, Barron's experience goes beyond what meets the eye. While the media often portrays him as a quiet and distant figure, there's a compelling narrative behind his silence.
I don't know. I mean, I never felt like I could. I never felt like I could have a regular job. From the time I got out of high school, I never had a full-time job.
One comparison that often arises when discussing public personas and privacy is with figures like Joe Rogan. Rogan, a prominent figure in entertainment and podcasting, has built a brand around openly discussing controversial topics and diving into complex issues. Interestingly, despite the transparency and candidness of Rogan's career, he has also managed to maintain a significant degree of privacy when it comes to his personal life. The contrast between Rogan's open professional persona and his discretion mirrors Barron's own situation in an inverse way. Barron's public life is known, but his personal story remains closely guarded. While the public is familiar with the Trump family's larger political and business presence, few realize that Barron's apparent reticence could be a conscious decision to carve out a different path, one that values privacy over the public. As Rogan has demonstrated, the balance between public and private personas can be maintained, even under intense public attention. So what do we know about Barron Trump? Perhaps the most important takeaway is that what the public sees is only a fraction of who he is. His silence may very well be his strength, allowing him to develop outside of the glare of the media and pursue his interests, whatever they may be, on his terms. From a young age, Barron has had a unique upbringing, one that sets him apart from most children in America, indeed, from most children in the world. A short glimpse of Barron's upbringing. The youngest of Donald Trump's 5 children, Barron was born on March 20, 2006 in New York City, at a time when his father was more known as a real estate mogul and reality TV star than as a politician. His birth was somewhat surprising, as Donald and Melania had not publicly discussed their plans for a child until shortly before his arrival, making his entry into the world a subject of intrigue from the very beginning. As his father's political career gained momentum, Barron became the first boy to live in the White House since John F. Kennedy Jr. in the 1960s. This distinction alone sets him apart from many of his peers, but it's only one aspect of his unusual childhood. While his life has been filled with privilege, Melania Trump has often emphasized that Barron's upbringing was very different from the usual high-profile family dynamic. In several ways, she's made it clear that she chose to raise Barron without the help of a full-time nanny, a departure from the norm for many wealthy families. Melania has always been hands-on with Barron, stating that she wanted to be fully involved in his day-to-day life, from schoolwork to personal development, ensuring that he grew up grounded despite the immense public attention surrounding his family. What many don't realize about Barron is that, despite his father's immense fame and controversial political career, Barron has maintained a relatively normal life, at least as normal as it could be under the circumstances. Shielded from much of the media coverage that has surrounded his father's presidency, Barron rarely appeared in public during his formative years, making only occasional appearances at major events like the presidential inauguration and his father's campaign rallies. Even then, the camera always seemed to zoom out when it came to Barron, as if the media had collectively agreed to let him live life as peacefully as possible within the confines of his extraordinary world. What's fascinating about Barron Trump is the delicate balance he has had to strike between living a life under the public eye and finding a sense of personal identity amid all the chaos. While most teenagers deal with the pressures of school, friendships, and figuring out who they are, Barron has had to navigate all of that while the world watches, with many wondering how growing up in such a politically charged environment will shape the person he becomes. At the same time, Barron is often unfairly compared to his older siblings, Ivanka, Donald Jr., and Eric, who have all played active roles in the Trump empire and, by extension, in the public narrative surrounding their father. While they each have embraced the media spotlight in their own ways, Barron has quietly stayed in the background, perhaps waiting for the right moment to carve out his path. He stands out because, unlike his siblings who are already deeply entrenched in their father's political and business ventures, Barron's future remains wide open. The public has yet to see what role he will take, if any, in the Trump family's continued influence on American society and politics. But for now, Barron's relative silence speaks volumes. It's as if he is the quiet observer in a world where everyone else is loudly seeking attention. This quietness, however, should not be mistaken for a lack of substance. It might be what makes him the most intriguing member of the Trump family. There's a sense that Barron is biding his time, waiting for the right moment to step out of the shadows and into the public sphere on his terms. He is growing up in an era where privacy is hard to come by, yet somehow he has managed to keep much of his life under wraps, even as speculation swirls around him. What no one realizes about Barron Trump is that his story is still being written, and it may be very different from the narrative most people expect. The public, accustomed to seeing Trump as a loud and divisive force in American politics, may be underestimating the youngest Trump. Barron represents a generation that is more attuned to the digital age, more aware of global issues, and more connected to diverse perspectives than any generation before. This places him in a unique position, not just as the son of a former president, but as a young man who could very well shape his legacy apart from the shadow of his father. In the years to come, as Barron Trump steps into adulthood, the world will undoubtedly continue to speculate about his future. Will he follow in the footsteps of his siblings and take on a role in the family business or politics? Or will he forge his path, separate from the expectations placed upon him? Whatever the case, it's clear that Barron Trump has a story that is far more complex than the occasional glimpses we get from his public appearances.
Live together on Sunday after a weekend at the Trump Resort in Bedminster, New Jersey.
As the youngest child of Donald Trump, Barron Trump was only 10 years old when his father won the U.S. presidency in 2016. While most 10-year-olds are focused on school, friends, and hobbies, Barron found himself thrust into the international spotlight, moving from his family's luxurious home in the Trump Tower to the White House, one of the most recognizable buildings in the world. But unlike many children of public figures, Barron's public appearances were remarkably scarce, giving rise to a growing curiosity about his life and character.
Right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
The notable aspects of Barron Trump. One of the most notable aspects of Barron's time in the White House was the decision to remain in New York for several months after Donald Trump's inauguration in January 2017. This move was attributed to his mother Melania Trump wanting Barron to complete his school year at Columbia Grammar and Preparatory School in Manhattan. The decision to prioritize Barron's education over political duties was seen by many as a reflection of Melania's dedication to her son's well-being amid the whirlwind of the Trump presidency. When Barron did finally move into the White House in June 2017, his presence there was minimal. He was rarely seen at public events or on the campaign trail, unlike previous presidential children who often took part in various ceremonies and media appearances. This deliberate effort to keep him out of the political spotlight was largely attributed to Melania, who has consistently emphasized her desire to protect Barron's privacy. Despite his reserved public persona, the interest in Barron Trump continued to grow, particularly as he became a teenager. One of the most frequently discussed aspects of Barron's life is his impressive height. Standing at over 6 foot 7 inches as of 2023, Barron's height has become a frequent topic of conversation online, leading to numerous memes and viral social media posts. While the attention might seem superficial, it highlights the reality that even without seeking fame, Barron cannot escape the fascination of a public eager to latch on to any detail about his life.
People are stunned at how he towers over everyone around him. Here's the latest look at the Trump heir's astonishing altitude.
At over 6 foot 7, he towers over both of his parents, and his polished, well put together look has sparked curiosity about his style. Often seen wearing sleek outfits paired with high-end sneakers, Barron has a clear love for sneakers, particularly those from luxury brands. His tall, athletic build and fashion sense give him a distinctive presence whenever he's spotted in public, whether accompanying his family or attending formal events. Yet, despite his stylish looks, he remains somewhat of a mystery, choosing to keep much of his personal life, including his fashion preferences, away from the public eye. Though Barron's height may be one of the most visible aspects of his physical presence, it has sparked curiosity about other aspects of his life. What are his interests? What kind of student is he? Does he have any aspirations of following in his father's footsteps, either in business or politics? These questions remain largely unanswered because Barron, in stark contrast to his father, has chosen to stay silent in the face of public speculation. It's easy to assume that Barron has led a life of unimaginable privilege. After all, he's lived in some of the most luxurious residences in the world, including Trump Tower, the White House, and now the family's Mar-a-Lago estate. He has attended some of the most prestigious schools, and his family's wealth ensures that he has access to opportunities most can only dream of. However, with this privilege comes immense pressure. Being the child of a president, especially one as polarizing as Donald Trump, means that Barron's every move is under a microscope, and this level of scrutiny can be particularly challenging for someone so young. Growing up in such a politically charged environment, Barron would have had to deal with constant media attention, as well as the intense emotions of those who either support or vehemently oppose his father's policies and persona. This pressure is something that few people, let alone teenagers, can fully understand. Yet Barron has managed to maintain an air of mystery, rarely offering any insight into how he feels about the world around him, his father's legacy, or his own future. One of the most influential figures in Barron's life has undoubtedly been his mother, Melania Trump. Throughout Donald Trump's presidency and beyond, Melania has been fiercely protective of Barron, ensuring that his privacy was respected as much as possible. She often emphasized that Barron should be allowed to grow up away from the harsh realities of political life. During interviews and public appearances, Melania consistently deflected questions about her son, maintaining that he deserved a normal childhood despite the extraordinary circumstances he was born into. Melania's dedication to Barron's upbringing can be seen in her choice to keep him out of the spotlight. Unlike previous first children, Barron rarely attended public events or posed for the press. This was a stark contrast to the Obama daughters, Malia and Sasha, who were frequently photographed and attended numerous official functions during their time in the White House. Melania's approach was to shield Barron from the pressures of public life, allowing him to focus on his education and personal development. Barron's education has always been a priority for Melania, and he has attended prestigious private schools throughout his life. After moving to Washington, D.C., Barron attended St. Andrew's Episcopal School, an exclusive institution known for its academic rigor and high-profile students. More recently, he has been enrolled at Oxbridge Academy in Palm Beach, Florida, a private school founded by billionaire William Koch. The school is known for its emphasis on academic excellence and leadership development, which suggests that Barron is receiving a top-tier education aimed at preparing him for a future filled with potential opportunities. Barron's connection to his heritage is something his mother, Melania Trump, has often highlighted in interviews. Raised bilingual, Barron is fluent in both English and Slovenian, his mother's native language. Melania has been open about how important it was for her to teach Barron Slovenian from a young age, fostering a strong cultural connection to her side of the family. Melania often spoke about how Barron would communicate with her in Slovenian at home, keeping that bond alive despite the international spotlight they lived under. Learning a second language from his mother added a unique layer to Barron's upbringing, setting him apart from other children of U.S. presidents. As for his current education, Barron is currently enrolled at NYU after recently graduating from Oxbridge Academy with a diploma. His time at the academy was largely out of the public eye, but it's clear that the school provided an environment that encourages students to think critically and pursue excellence, skills that will undoubtedly serve him well in the future. Barron's educational journey has always been a priority for his parents, especially Melania, who made it clear early on that she wanted him to have a stable and uninterrupted schooling experience, even during their time in the White House. Beyond academics, sports play an integral part in Barron's life. Much like his father, Donald Trump, Barron shares a deep love for golf, a sport that the Trump family has long embraced. Whether it's spending time at one of the many golf courses owned by the family or playing alongside his father, Barron's interest in golf echoes Donald Trump's passion for the game. Melania Trump has also commented on the bond between Barron and his father through their shared love of sports, particularly golf, noting how the sport allows them to spend time together and connect over something they both enjoy. However, golf isn't the only sport that Barron excels at. Soccer has been a major part of his life for years, showcasing his athletic abilities on the field. Barron's talent for soccer was evident early on when he played for DC United's under-12 team during his family's time in Washington, D.C. Later, in 2017, he joined the Arlington Soccer Association, continuing to develop his skills in a team setting. His love for soccer, combined with his towering height, has made him a formidable presence on the field, though it's unclear if he intends to pursue the sport professionally or simply enjoys it as a hobby. Regardless, his achievements in both soccer and golf demonstrate Barron's multifaceted interests and potential in the world of sports. In terms of interests, very little is known about Barron's hobbies or passions. However, it's been reported that he shares a love for soccer. Barron was seen wearing an Arsenal Football Club jersey on multiple occasions, and Melania has mentioned that he is a keen soccer player. Whether or not he will pursue sports seriously remains to be seen, but his towering height could certainly be an advantage in any athletic endeavor he chooses to pursue. As we look at Barron Trump's hobbies and interests, the picture becomes even more intriguing. He has shown a keen passion for soccer and golf, both sports often associated with discipline and precision. However, the question remains, where do Barron's true passions lie? Could he pursue a career in sports, or is there another path waiting for him in the future? Just as the public is curious about his next move, we find ourselves wondering which direction Barron will ultimately take. The Enigma of Joe Rogan, the man of many faces? This uncertainty mirrors the complexity of another public figure, Joe Rogan. Much like Barron, Rogan is a man of many talents and interests. He first gained fame as a stand-up comedian, then became widely recognized as a UFC commentator, bringing his sharp analysis and energy to one of the world's biggest sports. But that's just the beginning. Rogan is perhaps best known for his wildly popular podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, where he dives deep into discussions on a variety of topics, ranging from science, politics, and fitness to conspiracy theories and space exploration. His ability to speak openly and thoughtfully on such a broad range of subjects has made him a cultural phenomenon, attracting millions of listeners worldwide. However, despite being so visible professionally, Rogan's personal life remains something of a mystery. He shared snippets of his life, his passion for martial arts, his obsession with fitness, and his love of hunting. But beyond that, Rogan is surprisingly private. His family life is kept out of the limelight, and his personal views often evolve in unpredictable ways. One day he's discussing the benefits of meditation and mental clarity. The next he's dissecting political controversies with a fierce, no-holds-barred attitude. His life seems full of contradictions, surprises, and hidden layers, which only adds to his enigmatic persona. What makes Joe Rogan even more intriguing is how he goes through with these multiple roles so effortlessly, switching between comedian, commentator, and podcast host with ease. Much like Barron Trump, Rogan's true passions and future direction often leave people guessing. Both figures, while vastly different, share this element of unpredictability, making them endlessly fascinating to the public. The contrast between these two figures is fascinating. While Barron has grown up largely shielded from the public eye, his life is filled with speculation about his future. Rogan, on the other hand, thrives in the spotlight but keeps many aspects of his life hidden. Both individuals, in their own unique ways, navigate the challenges of public attention while maintaining an air of mystery about their true selves. Perhaps the most compelling aspect of both Barron Trump and Joe Rogan is that they are defined not only by what the public knows, but also by what remains unknown. What's next for Barron Trump? As Barron grows older, the public's curiosity about him will only increase. There is speculation about what role, if any, he will play in the Trump's family political and business empire. Will he follow in his father's footsteps, taking on a leadership role within the Trump organization? Or will he carve out his path, perhaps staying far away from the limelight that has surrounded his family for so long? He has never given a public interview, nor has he been involved in any controversies or public disputes. His appearances are limited mostly to family events or formal occasions, such as inaugurations or holidays at the White House. One of the few times he caught media attention was during a fleeting moment in 2020 when online trolls made comments about his height and Melania Trump publicly defended her son, emphasizing the importance of respecting his privacy. Aside from this and a few public sightings, Barron has avoided the kind of media drama or scandal that typically follow children of political figures, adding to the intrigue surrounding his future path. One thing is certain, Barron Trump's story is far from over. As he transitions from adolescence into adulthood, the choices he makes will undoubtedly shape the way the world sees him. For now, though, he remains a figure of quiet intrigue, a young man whose life has been shaped by extraordinary circumstances, but whose future is still unwritten. In a world where every move is scrutinized, Barron Trump remains an intriguing figure, largely out of the public eye, yet constantly at the center of speculation. His unique upbringing, athletic talents, and multilingual background set him apart from other teens. But as he grows older, the world is left wondering what role he will play in the Trump legacy. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan's journey offers a different story. Rogan has built a career out of being in the public eye, but what many don't realize is how his interests extend beyond the microphone and octagon. Rogan is an entrepreneur, launching wellness brands, owning a state-of-the-art podcast studio, and even developing a keen interest in neuroscience and human optimization. His ability to blend physical fitness with intellectual curiosity sets him apart as a true modern-day polymath. He regularly interviews experts from diverse fields, from quantum physics to ancient history, filling his episodes with a depth of knowledge that reflects his continuous pursuit of learning. Yet, despite his fame, Rogan remains an enigmatic figure in some ways. His thoughts and views are constantly evolving, leaving even his most loyal fans guessing about his next move. Joe Rogan and Barron Trump, two lives with the same curiosity. The contrast between Rogan and Barron is stark, yet revealing. Rogan, a man of many public faces, openly shares his interests with the world, always one step ahead in his quest for growth. Barron, on the other hand, keeps his path private, but the potential for surprise is no less present. Whether Barron chooses to follow a more public role or continue cultivating his passions in private, the curiosity surrounding him only grows. Like Rogan, who has crafted a full life of unexpected turns, Barron might be quietly shaping a future far beyond what anyone can predict. In both cases, the world is left intrigued, waiting to see what the next chapter holds for these vastly different but equally fascinating figures. With Donald Trump gearing up for another potential presidential run, the spotlight on the entire Trump family is sure to intensify once again. Whether Barron chooses to stay in the background or eventually steps into a more public role remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: whatever path he chooses, the world will be watching closely. In contrast, Joe Rogan remains a figure of immense interest. Known for his influential podcast and his involvement in the UFC, Rogan has mastered the art of engaging his audience with provocative discussions and intriguing interviews. Just as Rogan's next moves are eagerly awaited, so too is the anticipation surrounding Barron Trump's future. Both men keep audiences guessing and engaged with their intriguing narratives. If you enjoyed this insight and want to keep up with more compelling stories, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more updates.